In recent years, this has become one of the most famous pieces of UFO footage ever recovered, detailing a UFO allegedly hovering over the Sea of Marmara, close to the town of Kumburgaz. And I'm sure I'm going to be mispronouncing most of this during this particular video. I apologize for all that, but my Turkish is pretty much non-existent. However, it is a very compelling piece of footage, and it's not just one piece. As a matter of fact, these sightings took place over the period of a couple of years, and they were all filmed by a night watchman who remained anonymous for a considerable amount of time, but was recently identified. And in spite of a considerable effort made by various skeptics around the world, including the debunking forum Metabunk, who have put forward all kinds of mundane explanations as to what this mysterious image, craft, whatever you would like to call it, might be, it has yet to be explained as being anything other than what it appears to be, some sort of bizarre advanced craft that appears to be hovering over the ocean. Not in motion, not utilizing any sort of turbofans or any other conventional form of lift to keep itself aloft, but rather just hovering there. And that is very, very bizarre indeed. But there's a lot more to this story than most people know. A lot more footage taken over several years before any of it became public, and lots of other witnesses besides the man who actually filmed it. And we're going to analyze all of this to determine whether or not the most compelling UFO footage ever filmed is indeed genuine. Good afternoon and welcome to another Angry Alien Bulletin. Before I get started, I would like to thank Theo, my latest Patreon supporter. Thanks so much for your help. Without folks like you, I couldn't keep this channel going. And if you'd like to help support this channel as well, and especially my effort to get Freedom of Information Act requests, well, all the details are in the description. So what is commonly mentioned by UFO skeptics as being evidence that this is nothing more than people's imagination, hoaxes, etc., is the fact that nearly all UFO sightings take place in the United States, where there's a fascination or obsession with these sorts of things, and it's a phenomenon that isn't really repeated anywhere else in the world. But this is not the case, and all of the footage that you're going to be watching today comes from Turkey, and most of it is very recent, by the way. But there is a long history of ufology in Turkey as well, all the way back to the early 1980s, and actually significantly before that. But I'd like to bring up a particular case that took place on January 15th, 1982. During this time, a series of UFO sightings took place over Turkey, but 3 took place on the same day. They occurred over the cities of Niğde, Hafsa, and Izmir. Once again, I'm sure I'm mispronouncing all of these. I'm very sorry. The first, resembling a tray of some kind, appeared at 7:05 p.m., and then a little over 2 hours later, at 9:35 p.m., 2 UFOs were reported from Hafsa, accompanied by reported malfunction of TV sets in the town. 2 hours later, a reported UFO caused the citizens of Izmir to panic, and when the UFO held stationary over the Buka forest and took on a flaming appearance, the fire brigades of Izmir rushed to the scene and kept watch over the UFO for 45 minutes until it diminished in size and finally vanished. By the way, this is according to a book entitled Mysteries of Turkey, UFO Activity Revealed. But no sighting has gained as much notoriety as the Kumburgaz sighting and the footage associated with it. So first, we need to have a look at exactly where this sighting took place. The town of Kumburgaz is located in the outskirts of Istanbul, and the craft in question allegedly appeared over the Sea of Marmara. Now, I need to inform you about some very important details in regards to this location. Istanbul, of course, is a massively populated area, and the Sea of Marmara is a very important shipping lane for commerce. All vessels that travel between the Mediterranean and the Black Seas must pass through the Sea of Marmara, which once again makes it a little difficult for me to believe that something this incredible and something this bizarre looking could have appeared over the Sea of Marmara without being observed. However, it's also important to note that the vast majority of these sightings took place in the dead of night, this particular one at about 3 a.m., so that in some way explains why there weren't a whole lot of other witnesses, but there were witnesses in 2009 after a number of other sightings had been made by the videographer in question. By the way, he was a security guard at the Yeni Kent tourist facility named Yalçın Yalman. And in 2009, after he had filmed this craft a number of times, or perhaps other craft in addition to this one, because the configuration of this craft seems to change a little bit between sightings, but nevertheless, over a half dozen other witnesses saw this strange disc-shaped UFO hovering in the sky and significantly glinting under a bright moon. Keep in mind that the raw footage that Yalman took has been examined pixel by pixel by a variety of different videography experts and experts in the field of special effects and digital work, that sort of thing, and all of them have testified that this is genuine footage of something physical that was gleaming under the moon. And that is one of the most significant details of this object, is the fact that the lighting on it corresponds to the position of the moon in the night sky. So it has to be something that was actually there at the time that the filming was taking place, or it could be incredibly good digital trickery, but I don't see how he could have pulled something like this off about 15 years ago with the technology that was available at the time. And for those of you who are still unconvinced, it's important to note that video cassettes holding 35 minutes of footage, original footage, were handed over to the Science and Technology Research Board of Turkey's scientific institution owned by the state, which of course is a highly reliable and influential national observatory. And by the way, these were the people who were debating the genuine nature of the footage in the first place. After analysis, they determined that the footage had been recorded by a Canon GL1 mini DV digital camera on the beach of a holiday village in Kumburgaz, Istanbul, by an amateur. The images were examined by the TUG National Observatory Image Processing Unit. Because it would take quite a long time to analyze all of the images, only randomly selected parts were pre-examined. During this process, emphasis was not placed on the images produced by optical clarification effects, which a number of point light sources were generated. The examination of these frames yielded the following results. Number one, the images were recorded in digital NTSC format by the above-mentioned camera. Number two, the date on the video indicates the recordings were made in 2007, 2008, and 2009. Number three, the footage images of the object which visibly have a certain configuration are not computer animations, special video effects, or studio recreated images or models. The footage is genuine. Number four, the first observation made from the footage is that some of the images were recorded in nighttime sky at a certain altitude from the horizon. So the explanations that this is a cruise ship of some kind or something like that, that has been absolutely debunked by a respected scientific institution. The footage also covers images of the moon in some parts, which proves that the video was shot in nighttime and open air. But the fact that the digital date displays showing AM and certain frames in PM and others raises suspicion about the validity of the time in which the recordings were made. So that's a little shaky. Next, since in some parts there is no other object that can be featured as a reference in the close-up frames and no observable differences were found on background examination, the actual location, distance, dimensions, and nature of the objects could not be determined. That's also significant. Through the examination of shootings of multiple dates is a strong possibility that 2 to 3 different objects were captured. However, it's difficult to determine whether the objects are moving or not. Their movement is slow, even if they do so. By the way, that was a strangely worded sentence, and I think it just came over poorly in the translation. The reflections of light on the objects are sometimes caused by the moon, which was in a convenient location at that time, and sometimes produced by other sources of light. In conclusion, even though a detailed analysis of the footage is conducted, it might still remain unidentified. Hence, other reference objects need to be recorded in the same frame with the disputable object, and further shootings need to be done by ourselves with special equipment in the same location and conditions. It'd be very nice, assuming that the pilots of this UFO would be willing to cooperate. So the final paragraph says, quote, accordingly, the term UFO, unidentified flying object, which has been used for these sorts of dubious objects, can also be used for these objects. But this definition does not mean that these objects are from extraterrestrial, flying saucer, etc. origin. And by the way, that is according to Professor PhD Zeki Eker, I think, who's the director of the National Observatory of Tubitak. Again, an extremely respected individual. So if their analysis of this footage couldn't turn up any trickery or any forgery, I don't see how anybody else could turn up any forgery either. Now, a lot has been made of the supposed pilots that can be seen in some of these images. There is allegedly a cockpit area where pilots can be observed, even their faces, their eyes, that sort of thing. However, the pixels of this portion of the object, again, on the occasions when a cockpit can be seen, have been examined in great detail, and really, when it comes down to it, these images could be anything. Keep in mind that this telephoto lens is zoomed in considerably just to get the image of the craft, let alone any details on it. And yes, this kind of looks like the bloated or elongated heads that we associate with the Greys or whatever other alien species that are supposedly visiting us right now. But again, I don't see it. It could be a wide variety of things. The human mind tricks itself into seeing what we want to see, and I don't see enough evidence to indicate that there are any pilots in this cockpit that could be clearly observed, let alone things like facial features. And also, we humans are inclined to associate our own designs of our own flying craft with the things that we see elsewhere, meaning that what we're looking at right now, at least as far as I'm concerned, is a giant Cylon Raider, and the cockpit for a Cylon Raider from Battlestar Galactica, at least the old 1970s series, is located right in the middle of the craft, and so that's where the aliens should be. But we have no reason to believe that their technology or engineering design would be in any way similar to the sorts of things that we design. But here's the bottom line. UFO sightings are not a phenomenon that is unique to the Western world. UFOs are spotted everywhere. If you plug in a certain country's name and then plug in UFO and pull it up on Twitter, you are fairly likely going to find some footage, some video of somebody filming some sort of unidentified craft or an orb or something like that passing overhead. Very seldom are you going to be able to find a country where UFO sightings do not take place. Something definitely was hovering over the Sea of Marmara. It was hovering without any visible means of propulsion, hovering without any noise whatsoever, and at least for the 2009 sightings, was hovering in plain view of over a half dozen witnesses. Something significant happened over the Sea of Marmara in 2007 to 2009. Quite a number of intriguing sightings. It could have been some sort of experimental military craft. Again, a military craft employing anti-gravity technology before 2010. That's quite an accomplishment if true. I don't see any other kind of propulsion system that could have accomplished what we're seeing here with today's technology or 2008 technology without making some kind of noise. And as you can hear,
Kamerada nasıl görünüyor?
Karanlık yok biraz zayıf gözüküyor.
Abi şu anda karanlık o dediğin şey ya ama arada parlıyor.
Evet.
Çok
no noise whatsoever. So as far as I'm concerned, this is one of the most compelling pieces of UFO footage that's ever been captured. It's been run through the ringer again and again by video experts and scientific experts around the world, and no one has been able to debate its authenticity. By the way, if you want to check out the raw footage, including all the audio, the commentary, which is all in Turkish, of course, well, I've got it on my Patreon site. So if you're interested in becoming a Patreon member, there's actually a fair amount of exclusive videos that I have there, including some video that I myself shot of UAPs over RAF Lakenheath, which I have to admit, even though I was using a camera that is considered to be the most advanced and sophisticated cell phone camera on the market, it didn't turn out nearly as good as this video does, again indicating how tough it can be to take really good quality images at night, and especially to zoom in on objects that are hovering in the sky without the image shaking all over the damn place. It is an extremely difficult task, and I must applaud this amateur for what he was able to pull off. So thank you, Yalcin Yalman, for these amazing videos, and thank you, viewers, for tuning in. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, and also please support the Transporter Room. It's an awesome Star Trek talk show, talk vlog, shall we say? I don't know what to call these things. I'm a bit of an old person myself and not up to date on all of this terminology, but it's a great channel. They interviewed me personally. I'm going to link that video at the end of this one, and he sponsored 2 of my videos. Cash sponsorships, guys. We need to get him to 1,000 subscribers. He's over 800 right now. You know what to do. So thanks again, and as always, stay angry about space.